Let's just keep showing that. I'm good with just showing that. Ladies and gentlemen, the future Hall of Famer, Vince Carter, whose highlight reel, I would say, rivals any highlight reel that has ever been put together in history. Good morning, Vince. How are you?
Morning. Thank you, man. Thank you for that.
Thank you for doing this, and congratulations on everything. And we're going to dive into all this playoff stuff here because we're using you as an analyst and delighted to do it. But I just want you to give credit where it is due, it to you, because people would ask all the time over these last couple of years, why is Vince Carter still out there? Why is he still playing, even especially at the end of your career, on teams that realistically weren't going to win a championship? And it seemed to me you were doing it because you liked it, and there's probably no better reason to do it than that. Was that what was your answer when people would say, why is Vince Carter still out there?
Absolutely. I think, I'm going to go further than that. I'm going to say I did it because I loved it. I still felt that I can compete, but I wanted to play. That's how I wanted to contribute, to sit on the bench and just collect a ring with a team. It wasn't my way of handling my business and enjoying what I had left as a basketball player. So, I was fortunate enough to be able to do it my way and still play the game that I love and I worked so hard for, even into my 40s. So it was great. It was a great run.
It was fun to watch. Okay, let's put you to work here. I want to start by playing some sound from Anthony Davis, who I have identified, in my opinion, as the most important player in this upcoming NBA playoffs, which begin today. And he, of course, has always been on underdogs. Now he's on a favorite. Here's what he said about that difference.
Oh, very different. I think in New Orleans, most of the time we were the underdogs. Here we're the favorite. So the target's a lot bigger, and when you're an underdog, winning games that you're not supposed to, you necessarily don't have a target on your back. But when you're the favorite, I think the pressure is more on you to win games than the other team.
Let's talk about that, Vince Carter. How does that pressure affect players, and how would you expect it to affect Anthony Davis?
That pressure does affect players, and I think when you come into a situation like Anthony Davis, is when you're the underdog, you just go out there and play, and you swing for the fences, and you say, "Hey, we'll see what happens." Now, when you're the favorite and you're expected to play in the Eastern Conference Finals, if not the finals, the pressure is to go out and play perfect basketball. He has the luxury of a LeBron James on his side and can lead him when he's not playing well. But I agree with something you said off air. He is probably the most important player for their team right now. I mean, you know what LeBron's going to bring, but you need Anthony Davis to play at a high level for them to accomplish that goal and at least make it to the Western Conference Finals.
And if not more, I think just the Western Conference Finals at this point would be a disappointment based upon their season and based upon the two stars they have. Let's pick up on that thought. What specifically do you think Anthony Davis needs to give them to get them through the West, to get them through the Clippers, and maybe to win the whole thing?
I say monster numbers. And he's going to need monster numbers because until they figure out who their third guy, Kuzma is very capable of being the third guy. We know, once again, we know LeBron is going to be LeBron, and in moments when he needs to step up, he will do so. But playing through Anthony Davis will make things easier for the Lakers. It'll open up shooting. I know they didn't they haven't shot a great percentage in the bubble and throughout the year. But I think monster numbers, I'm saying somewhere in the 30 and at least 12 rebounds a game. I mean, you're putting pressure not only outside. I'd like to see him work in the post more, getting the Lakers into the penalty to get free throws and score without the clock moving. So I feel like for him, he has to play great from start to finish.
I love it. 30 and 12. I wrote it down. Those are the expectations for Anthony Davis. Let me play one other thing quickly here, and that is from Giannis. The prohibitive favorite on the other side of the bracket in the East is Milwaukee, but they have not looked good in the bubble at all. Here are Giannis's in state this season. Allow Big Ten players and teams to make their own choice as to whether they wish to play or opt out this fall season. Allow Big Ten players and teams who choose to opt out of playing a fall season to do so without penalty or repercussion. So he's talking. So are parents of Big Ten football players questioning the decision to postpone.
Are we just now realizing that there are risks that you take to play football? There are risks in life. It's really not fair to go forward and have our sons who have worked equally as hard have their season completely canceled while others will go on. That is just simply not right. We as parents are here to support our sons as they move through their dreams in life and get to their aspirations.
Wow. So that's a lot to unpack. And the good news is we have all the right people to do it. Joey Galloway is up early. So is Paul Feinbaum. And, of course, we'll start with Heather Dinich, who was supposed to be on vacation today. And then this happened. And Heather, good enough to jump in with us here. So you've got Justin Fields. We've got a petition. We have over 200,000 people signing it. We have parents speaking out. I guess the question is simple. Is there a real chance that this will create a change and we will see football in the Big Ten this fall?
I would be shocked, Greeny, shocked if the president's reversed course on this. The reality of the situation is this. The Big Ten has acknowledged it has received letters from parents. There is a lot of anger and frustration, not just from parents and their sons, but also from coaches and athletic directors throughout the conference who are still trying to figure out the abrupt about-face between the Big Ten's schedule announcement and then less than 6 days later postponing fall sports to the spring. But everyone has to remember that this decision was made by university presidents who are all dealing with different situations and made the decision based on the advice of the Big Ten's medical advisory panel. And I'm going to bring this up because it illustrates how different it is. In 2018, Maryland offensive lineman Jordan McNair died from heat stroke that he suffered at a practice. I do not know how Maryland's president voted, but I can tell you from covering that story for over a year that Maryland is one school that cannot afford to gamble whatsoever with the health of its student athletes. So everyone is dealing with different situations on their own campuses. And while Ohio State has a lot of money, resources, and privilege to take care of those student athletes, everyone has to remember that those presidents are making those decisions based on what they have to work with.
They also could be making them individually. One of the things that I took from reading those words in Justin Fields' position, and we all sat here and crushed Nebraska for wanting to go out on their own. But one of the things that he said is not only let the players make up their own minds, but let the schools make up their own minds. So if there were schools that wanted to play, I think we are all of the opinion, I don't know the details, that there were schools that voted to continue playing and they were just outvoted in this. Is it unreasonable to say that the schools that would like to continue, that have players that would like to continue, could go on even if the entirety of the Big Ten did not? Heather, is that even in the realm of possibility?
Well, honestly, it's a question that I would have to ask Big Ten Commissioner Kevin Warren. But I do think that it could be in the realm of possibility if you have a majority of schools that want to do that. Look, in the spring, we talked about the possibility of a conference moving on if one or two teams couldn't play. Mike Oresco, the commissioner of the American Athletic Conference, told me, hey, yeah, we would be willing to do that. So I don't know necessarily that a Power 5 conference couldn't do that. The question is how many could. And that's one of the things parents raised to me. They said, look, we can have our players opt out. Why can't entire schools opt out if they don't feel safe?
Okay, so there's the table set for us. Paul Feinbaum, I'm giving you the floor. We've got players, super high-profile players. We have parents. We have people angry. What does it mean?
It means that this is a public relations nightmare for the Big Ten. And Greeny, they did it to themselves. Yes, they announced the schedule and came right back and canceled. And the biggest problem the Big Ten has had is they didn't explain their reasoning. Kevin Warren has done one interview, one major television interview with the Big Ten Network. And quite frankly, it was embarrassing. He was not authentic. He was not transparent. It looked like he was trying to cover for the presidents, which he may very well have been. And since then, a lot of this has just blown up, and he has not gotten control of it. It's also worth remembering this is his first year on the job. He took over for Jim Delaney, who was there for 25 years and was legendary. And that really is their biggest issue right now. They have no messaging. And on top of that, guess what's happening today in the SEC, Greeny? The SEC is releasing its schedule. They're doing it, in prime time on SEC Network television. They're going to trumpet how they're ready to play, how they have a plan. Meanwhile, everyone in the Big Ten is watching that and everywhere else and going, what's going on here? And another thing, the momentum and the motivation for some of the other conferences to play is even more today than it was 3 weeks ago. Yes, they realize the virus is out there, but if the SEC can play while the Big Ten is home, that is a disaster from a recruiting standpoint for all of the schools in the Big Ten.
Joey Galloway, you played at Ohio State. You're one of the great players in the conference. What do you make of all of this as you sit back and watch it? I have so many questions, I don't know where to begin. What do you think of all this?
Heather, you mentioned that Maryland can't afford to gamble with the health of its student athletes. No college anywhere can afford to gamble with the health of its student athletes. And so in this situation, to hear a parent say, you know, we understand there are risks of playing football, as if we're okay. And so, you know, have those parents talk to parents of kids that have died from, say, heat stroke or had issues from, say, concussions, because guys wanted to play through concussions also. And so when you look at these situations, I understand there is a lot of energy to play football. It shows great leadership by Justin Fields. It shows that he can get a group together and show their desire to play. That is not in question here and really has nothing to do with when you have to make decisions in football and in any sport regarding the health of the athletes involved. That takes precedent over any desire, anything that a parent may think should happen. The idea is this is a game of football and people must be kept safe to play this game of football. And let's not take that lightly. These decisions made by these presidents and delivered by the commissioner of the Big Ten comes from people who understand. Not only do people want to play, but there are financial ramifications to deal with this for their own universities. And if they're willing to make those decisions, then there must be real reasons for them to put their schools in that situation that they are saying that these student athletes are way more important and we must protect them.
So, Heather, it would not seem to me that the people in charge of the Big Ten, be that the commissioner or the president,